Hello everybody, John Esker here with Dixie Lee Insurance Solutions. And yeah, if you've ever done one of these videos, you start looking at yourself at the beginning of them and you say, oh my gosh, the bill on my hat is all messed up and what the heck. So why does John Esker wear this hat every single time he has a video? Well, first of all, it keeps my head warm. And secondly, the hat has Dixie Lee Insurance Solutions on it. See the bird? So it's like a billboard. It's a good advertisement thing, right? I could paint this bird on my forehead and put the Dixie Lee Insurance Solutions there too, but I don't think that would look right. I'm coming to you today because I wanted to tell you a little story about going to a healthcare provider with a friend of mine, and once she was checked in and everything and taken back to see her doctor, I had moseyed up to the counter to discuss a topic with the young lady behind the desk or behind the counter. And the question was, do they need the supplemental card? Okay. Now, from our last video, as you know, the answer was we don't have to show them our supplemental card. Why? Because we know that their billing department will bill Medicare, and then Medicare will bill or send the rest, the remaining that they don't pay, to the supplemental carrier. And the supplemental carrier then handles it from there. So anyway, so I asked her if she needed it, and then she said, well, I have it here on file, and because it hasn't changed, there's not a new carrier and a new card, well then, we still have it on record, or we would have changed it. And I said, yeah, I understand that, but let's pretend that we didn't have it on record. Let's pretend that when we came in, we just gave you the red, white, and blue Medicare card. And I said, would you have needed it? Would you have needed the supplemental card? And she looked at me with a blank look, and she says, you know what? I have no idea if we'd need it or not. And I said, okay. I said, so you guys don't bill the supplemental? And she says, I have no idea. You'll have to ask my billing department. And of course, I wasn't going to call the billing department right then and there. And then I said to her, I said, I'm asking because, and I let her know that I was an agent for Medicare, and in the beginning, but so I asked her because we've ran into situations, customers have run into situations where somebody might, and I'm not saying you, I said, but somebody might look at a supplemental card and say, we don't have this insurance, thinking it might be an advantage card and blah, 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 blah. And so she wasn't necessarily the most outspoken person that I've ever talked to. So, and I wasn't blaming her for anything. And I don't think that she thought I was. But anyhow, and she just said, oh, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so it kind of makes a point where, not to say she would do anything wrong, make a mistake or anything like that, but these young ladies are trained, or the person behind the counter is trained to do specific things. And that's just to ask for the card, put the information down, make sure it's accurate, and sign them in order to go back to see the doctor. So I could see where it could be simply, looking at a card and going, wait a minute, I don't take this, it's not in our network, and somebody getting confused, okay? It's been heard of, it happens, and that's the reason why for the video in the beginning. And so just thought I would share an experience I had today in and around that topic. It's good to see everybody. Happy New Year again. And I hope your evening, whatever you're doing, is wonderful. And we'll talk to you again soon. John Esker, Dixie Lee Insurance Solutions. We'll talk to you later. Bye.